Welcome to this edition of the Coach's Corner. I'm Wes McKinney here today with head baseball coach Andrew Wright. Coach, good to have you on today.
Thank you, Wes.
So starting out, after a 4-11 non-conference campaign, what are you looking forward to most as you begin conference play?
I think just handling adversity a little bit better than we have, and obviously that's going to come with the youth that we have on our roster in order for them to kind of see what college baseball is all about and things like that. Once we get into conference play and we just kind of eliminate the variables, do all that good stuff, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Okay. Now, with the 4-11 record in the non-conference, you guys played a very tough schedule. What do you take away most from playing nationally ranked competition?
Well, I think that we belong. You look at the record's not as attractive as it should be at this point in the season, but you look at, there were some flashes of brilliance. Obviously, we took some lumps early, but I think when we can string together some good innings, good at-bats, good pitches, things like that, then we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Okay, there's you alluded to it, a young roster.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's taken time for the underclassmen to adjust to this level of baseball?
I think obviously with preparing in the fall and doing all that you can preseason to get them ready to go out and play, until they actually see it and see live college competition, it's very difficult for them to kind of know what it's all about. But, I think that some of them are coming along a lot faster than were expected. Some of them, may need a few more games to kind of get their feet underneath them. But at the end of the day, when the dust settles in May, which is what we traditionally try to play for in this program, we feel like everybody's going to have the experience and be ready to go out and just play baseball.
Okay, now over last weekend, you guys took on Shippensburg,
Mm-hmm.
and the offense seemed to kind of come to life. Is that things to come, you think, for the team?
I think it shows certainly what we're capable of doing. You talk about it coming to life. Now, obviously, you take 2 innings from the offensive side from us, and then we don't actually hit that well. What we need to do is take that same approach that we took in those 2 innings where we were able to put some big runs up. You take that same approach to all 7 innings in the game or all 9 innings in the game, and then you're going to win some baseball games.
Okay, now you guys are 4-3 at home, 0-8 on the road. How are you guys focusing on becoming a better team away from Anderson Field?
I think just focusing on the process and playing in the present, because regardless if you're playing Fenway Park or Anderson Field, the objective doesn't change. Basically, you're trying to have good at-bats. Your pitchers are trying to make good pitches. And if you play to win each pitch throughout the course of a game, then it doesn't matter if you're away or if you're home. You're gonna do pretty well.
Okay, now there's been a few freshmen that's put up some pretty impressive numbers so far this season, and one of them is Jared Groves. Kind of talk about how he's adjusted to this level so well.
Well, we expected a very quick adjustment with Jared because he is so athletic. In the fall, he was probably one of our better hitters. Now, obviously, like we talked about a little bit ago, where until they really see it, they don't really know what to expect. What Jared has done a good job of is we've put him in a very difficult position for an 18-year-old to put him at the top of our lineup and expect him to be productive in that role, which is usually reserved for somebody with a little bit more experience. But what's going to trump everything is his athletic ability, and once he gets more experience and things like that, you're going to see even more production out of him as a player.
Okay, and now another freshman that's had early success is TJ Brockway. I'll just kind of explain his adjustment to this level as well.
TJ just hits. I mean, that's the best part about TJ. You get in there and you feel comfortable that at some point, if he gets his pitch, he's not going to miss his pitch. And TJ has a great approach at the plate. He's been very accepting of his role. He came in as a catcher. He's been very accepting of his role to kind of move around defensively a little bit so that we can get him in the lineup and keep him in the lineup. But TJ's done a phenomenal job for us, and we expect some big things out of him as well.
Okay, now kind of changing gears from the hitting aspect to the pitching aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Weatherholtz and Tyler Zim leads the team in innings pitched. How have you been able as a coach to manage your innings early to make sure they don't wear down later on?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the way the schedule is set up. Rather than going on a spring trip where you're playing 5 or 6 games, we basically spread the schedule out so that we're playing from early February through the end of May. So, if these guys are getting consistent innings, as long as the innings that they're throwing are quick, then it shouldn't be that taxing. And obviously, when you're going out and trying to win baseball games, you got to have your best arms on the mound as much as possible, and they're two of our better ones.
Okay, now through 15 games so far, you guys have a 296 average with runners on base. Is that a percentage you would like to see stay around there or go up? Or
I mean, obviously, I'd like for it to go up, but if you look at our overall batting average, I think, which is a little bit lower than that, it shows that we're employing an approach when we do have guys on base. I don't expect this team offensively to have an average under 300 at the end of the year. Now that's left to be determined, but you know, if we're doing a good job with runners on base, as long as it's staying over what we're hitting as an overall batting average, then you look to be pretty happy about it. But I think from an overall standpoint, again, it goes back to eliminating kind of what the situation is. The objective doesn't change. The objective is to go in, have good at-bats. If there's a runner on base, you got to move him over. If there's a guy on third with less than 2 outs, he's got to score. So, you know, just employing a team approach about how we go about our business, I think will play pretty well throughout the season.
Okay, now kind of back to the youth of the roster. What kind of roles have upperclassmen such as Keith Morris or Josh Winger and Ian Humphrey taken on so far this year?
Well, they've done a phenomenal job from just being an example of how to play, not getting too high, not getting too low, because when that starts to creep in, when the doubt starts to creep in, or when you get a little too high because things are going well, then you set yourself up for some failure. But I think these guys have done a good job because they've been through it before. They're all three of them obviously members of teams that have won a lot of games, also won a conference championship and played in a few regionals. So, you know, these guys are doing a phenomenal job by just kind of showing them how it's supposed to be done.
Okay, what roles and responsibilities does Coach Jefferson have within the team?
Coach Jefferson does a phenomenal job for us, basically on the recruiting front, which is where he's very concentrated on making sure that, you know, what we might be graduating is getting replaced, you know, and not only replaced, but also maybe even a little bit better. He's done a phenomenal job on that front. He also helps with very involved in our defense and also with our hitters as well.
Okay, now Keith Morrisford leads the team with 16 walks. Just discuss his ability to be patient at the plate and look for his pitch to hit.
Sure. Keith's a special case because basically you look at, especially where he's leading off for us now, which he hasn't done a whole lot of in the past, but basically you look at his at-bats, he's able to see at least 6 pitches in at-bat where you might even think if it was somebody different, you're like, why are you taking those pitches? But Keith, I have implicit faith in the fact that he can hit very well with 2 strikes, and he employs an approach that allows him to see more pitches, to draw those 16 walks, but also basically get his pitch so that he makes sure that he can get on base.
Okay, now the team as a whole has only grounded into 4 double plays this season. Talk about their effectiveness to make sure the ball gets out of the infield in a double play situation.
Well, you look at it, it's not only getting the ball out of the infield, it's also, it speaks well to the type of athletes that we have in the program, because when guys can run as well as our lineup can, then you're not gonna ground into double plays. It's gonna be very hard to turn the bottom half of the double play if you get a guy getting down the line as fast as we do have some of those guys doing that. So, you know, a lot of it just goes back to athleticism, and that's something we've tried to put into this program, is make sure that we're recruiting athletes, and we're going to figure out where they're going to play, so that at the end of the season we got our best 9 athletes out there, and that's going to trump a lot of things.
Okay, now final question here. What is the one thing that you and the coaching staff or the team needs to change or improve upon throughout the rest of the season?
I think just focusing on one pitch at a time, because if we can do that, it doesn't, like I alluded to earlier, it doesn't matter where you're playing, who you're playing against. If you're home or away, it doesn't matter what the conditions are. If you understand your objective within each pitch, within each play, then over the course of a season, if you're successful with each pitch, then you're going to be very successful.
All right, Coach, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
All righty, that's going to do it for this edition of the Coach's Corner. I'm Wes McKinney.